is sounding a little bit better than the last time because I'm actually using a different microphone. So uh, I only learned that you couldn't use the Polyland Mark or yeah Mark II is what I think that's what I had with a lightning connector going into Riverside. Um, you need a USB-C. And this is a Lightning because this is an iPhone 14. So yeah, also trying a couple different things. I got chat going from both YouTube and Twitch. So hopefully that seems to be working. Um, let's see here. So gonna do a little bit of pre-show kind of stuff just to make sure everything's working fine. Then I'm going to go into the meat and potatoes of actually recording the next episode of the Maker Dad podcast. Going to be making some changes here and there, not big ones, but it's just something to keep up with different things. Um, I know I have not been streaming, or I didn't put up any videos or anything like that. Um, that's completely on me. Mm, Clear dashboard, sure, why not? Got it. Go away. um, Stream manager. All right, looks like everything is going fine. And go back. So, okay. So, like I said, I haven't been doing any kind of uploading or had any live streams for the past couple weeks, pretty much this past month. I think the last episode was back on July 15th. No, July. Yeah, July. I was going to say June, but it was a little bit, it hasn't been that long, really. So uh, I am getting back into the cycle of getting it, uh, doing every week, getting a live stream where I record the podcast episode. I'm going to start with just that for every Mondays and going to go to maybe 2 days or, yeah, 2 times a week for the podcast, and then the dialed in, which is more a part of the creator side of things. But for now, this is going to get back into doing a a single day a week just for the podcast, so I can get back onto the flow of things and get things rolling again for the next month or two. And going to be focusing more out in a workshop. As you can see, it's not really when I make these videos or I make these live streams, it's at night, so it's not as hot as it is typically during the afternoon. Because if it was the afternoon, I would not want to be out here because it is like 100 degrees and it's not a fun experience. To tell you, if you have a small workshop and you are part of the southeast or southwest, you would definitely understand and know what I'm talking about here as well. That if you don't have any kind of cooling or AC or any kind of mitigation on that aspect, being in the garage is not a fun experience. um, One other thing, I'm going to be doing live streams on YouTube and Twitch. I did make a Owncast server. If you don't understand what Owncast is, basically it is a open source software live streaming service that you can self-host. I can do that through um, a what's called a virtual private server without going into the nuts and bolts and getting specific on it. It's basically you self-host your own like Twitch stream it's just your channel and nobody else. You control everything completely by yourself. I decided to start that up because I was going to plan to stream to Twitch, YouTube, and Owncast and SharePlay. So 4 streams going at one time. But I decided, let's just do the Twitch and YouTube for now. We'll bring in some more eventually down the line just to see how things work out. Um, keep the iPad going. So I forgot to turn it off the screen turn off time. So yeah, so I'm just going to be doing just 2 streaming services, Twitch and YouTube for now, just to get those get the numbers up and running or up as a word. And so it's kind of like less of a overhead that I have to worry about going forward until I can get something situated in the next couple months or so, or sometime early next year to have a capability of having a full live streaming setup out here. And I have like a computer or laptop or something where I can have the capability of having chat up on another monitor. Because right now I'm just going through the iPad right now for chat. So yeah, so I know I would like to keep streaming to SharePlay, but at this time, I'm just going to go focus on just Twitch and YouTube. Um, if you have any experience with SharePlay, I will be covering uh, that service on the MakerDad Tech YouTube channel. So definitely would love to hear your experience with it, and I'll probably do some videos to explain a little bit more what SharePlay is, what Owncast is. I've done plenty of videos on Owncast, so I have those set up, and on the website, themakerdad.com, I have some posts that help explain what Owncast is and how to set it up and customize it for your own setup. But tonight, going to be streaming or recording the podcast episode that is been long in the making for the past month. I know I've been slacking, and I do apologize, but life has a way of getting into um, your workflow and just completely messing things up. But anyways, things have settled down. I would have had a stream last week, but we did have family down. They stayed with us for the week, so I didn't want to have you know, kids running around making noise, and just focusing more on family and just keeping that aspect alive because that is actually very important to everything I do, and I'm sure it is important for you as well. Is to, keep your aspects, your connections with family very, um, very close, to say the least. So let's actually. I should have put my water out here, but that's okay. Let's see. So yeah, these live streams are not going to be as long as I've done in the past. They'll probably be up to maybe an hour, probably less. But it's something that um, yeah. If down the line, months from now, or even sometime a year or two, we'll start building up more of a repertoire, more of a um, live audience with questions and comments coming in, then of course the live streams will start increasing the length, but not too much. I would do like to keep it under 3 hours. Excuse me. At least 2 hours at the minimum would probably be a good way to think about it. But let's actually get into recording the podcast episode. I want before I do that, let me just double check on the YouTube side of things because that should be um, Okay, it is live. Awesome. Yeah, I just want to make sure because I know um, I did have a couple episodes and a couple blog posts talking about Riverside and all of the different things that um, I felt were a failing to put this out here. I am using Riverside mobile app for this recording and the live stream right now. I am going to be using Riverside to do all the live streaming recording out here and in the office as well. I did spend the, the past month and going through different things and looking at what kind of software is available that I can use for live streaming on, let's say, a phone or an iPad. Um, I could only come up with either Riverside or Streamlabs. I didn't want to use. I did use Streamlabs for about 2 days, and that 2 days was kind of difficult. A reason why I didn't say anything is because I had downloaded the software onto the Mac Mini. It is capable to be run on a Mac based system, but the problem was it is very laggy. It very slow, and you do have to pay. I think it was like um, $30 a month if you want to use the full capability of multi-streaming to different places and the capability of using your phone. It's kind of like a failback. So you can start streaming on your computer and then move to your phone seamlessly without any kind of interruption. I didn't even get a chance to try that out. I didn't even bother because at the time when I was running the software on the computer itself, the desktop, I was not having a good time with it. So I was like, you know what? $30 well spent, uninstall the second day, and I have not looked back. So Ecamm, which I have used in the past, and transparency, I have been an affiliate for Ecamm. A lot of my old videos probably still have the old affiliate link to it, but you can use Ecamm on a computer or laptop. But the problem is that they don't really support using Ecamm on the MacBook Air or the MacBook Neo because it doesn't have physical fans to help mitigate the thermal capability of those laptops. So what would happen is that over time or very quickly, your those two devices will heat up and cause thermal throttling. And if if you know anything about creator space or working with computers that go through that process where it heats up and then it just causes the whole system to slow down, um, I didn't want to spend the money to get a MacBook Pro or get another Mac Mini for out here to use for just for stuff out here. I would I will be doing that. I haven't I haven't narrowed things down yet, but I did want to have a computer out here the entire time, especially during the afternoons in this middle of summer, because it gets like I mentioned, it gets very hot. So I didn't want a device out here that's just going to get thermally soaked with heat for 8 hours. I do have an issue with um, one of the other internet lines that we have coming into the house that around 3 o'clock ish, it starts dropping its connection because it gets too hot in there. That's why I have the door open just to, you know. I do have a fan that is part of the case, but it sucks and it's very loud. So the bearings are probably shot on it. So I'm not too worried about replacing it because all that um later in a couple months when it starts getting cooler out, all this equipment is going to go into the office out of the garage. which I do have a sign the wife got me that it would be going in that location once I get things all squared away. But it's going to take a couple months to get it taken care of. Eventually, the drywall, the ceiling and drywall is going to get replaced. I'm going to have to eventually put in a mini split so it'd be comfortable in here to do any kind of recording, live streaming, or just basically working in the garage workshop. So, but again, that's down the line. So we all have to suffer through sweating our butt off making these projects and until we get to the point where, okay, I've I I give up. I can't sweat anymore. I need a mini split and then go through the whole process of installing it. So that's that's pretty much where we are right now. So I know, like I said at the mention of this little segment, I did rag on Riverside a bit, but they have made some improvements in the past couple weeks. Um, I did make a mention to them about including live stream chat in the app, which would be much appreciated because you have a live streaming app, but you can't see your audience talking. That doesn't really make sense. But anyways, hopefully they get that taken care of and added uh, relatively soon. So I just have just using twitchchat.fr and I have a workaround. So I'm gonna be using Riverside for the foreseeable future. Um, so it's gonna take care of all my editing needs. Um, I'm still gonna run the uh, podcast episode. I'm going to be testing out because again, I did the video, the last episode of the podcast, talking about the podcast hosting. I was having an issue, so I'm going to test that out, see if it's still an issue or not, or if it's just was a one-time thing or something I was doing wrong. But hey, it could happen. So let's actually get into the recording of the episode. It's going to be a short episode. Um, I'll talk a little bit more after the segment, and then we'll continue on from there. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Maker Dad podcast. Tonight, I'm going to step back a little bit and go not really behind the scenes, but try to explain a thinking process I recently had of getting a woodworking slash maker type business set up or going through the whole process before getting things set up. So tonight, let's actually talk about the thought processes that I've been going through for the past couple of weeks of, making sure that, especially, I know I got into like a different mid sentence and stopped, but if you are married or you have a significant other or a partner or something, it's actually very important to talk about when you start getting into thinking about creating a business. And the thought processes is wow, thought processes that you need to go through in order to make your side of things and then their side of things of a way of thinking kind of so you kind of match or meet up in the middle. um the thing is for the past couple of weeks I've been mulling over of how going through this process with my wife and how she is with um the monetary side of things and how I am on the monetary side of things. We are two completely different things of the spectrum of how we look at money and how um, I'm trying to put this nicely, especially from my end because I'm more gotta be careful of how I word things and how you word things too your significant other when you talk about these things. One of the things is that you kind of have to see their side of the book, what they're coming from, their experiences, and if they don't have any experience or anything like that with creating a business or even business things at all, that's a major issue that you kind of have to work around. So, like I said, for the past couple of weeks, I've been mulling over a couple different avenues of how to approach this. Um, and what we came up with is that it's going to have to be a very slow approach. And what I'm having to do is look at how you can create this business or get this started is a very small step at a time, baby steps really, is creating a product or going through the research and development of a product that you have to, uh, you feel like you're going to, um, how should I say it, um, be capable of producing and is in supply, and there is a demand for it. So one of the things I was just thinking of, and we did have family over, and we talked with sister-in-law and brother-in-law. Um, they mentioned like charcuterie boards. Um, when I first started doing this back in January, getting the Maker Dad aspect up and running, and wanting to document the process of creating a business and getting pretty much just build it in the public eye, I was thinking to myself, well, cutting boards and charcuterie boards are kind of oversaturated to effect that if you look on Etsy, a lot of a lot of the entries, a lot of the items are going to be mass produced. There's not really any kind of artisanal or handcrafted kind of aspect to it anymore. Not to say that there isn't, but the ones that are at the front of the line, like the first or second page, are from companies or manufacturers that can basically mass produce these items at a rate that for myself, I would not be able to even match them. And especially going through and starting this up and having to go through all the successes and failures of getting these things taken care of and going through material costs and just try to figure out what design would work or might sell better and something that I would be happy as well from the final product would I would be happy selling this and putting my name on it. That would be a very big barrier, but looking at it is probably excuse me, looking at it is probably going to be a good idea as kind of like a trial run, just to get your feet into the door. It's to um, get a design set up and get something out there that, again, like I said, that you're happy with and that you can sell. The problem is that you would have to think locally. Is it something that you can post up on? I wouldn't say Facebook Marketplace because Marketplace is kind of more thought of as a garage sale, yard sale type of section of Facebook. People are not going really, they're not looking for $150 item. They're looking for something that is a good deal, it's cheap, and that they can get locally. The other thing I can think of is potentially getting a small inventory set up and sell it at like local craft fairs, um, craft markets, farmers markets, something like that. I would have to do a lot of research on different markets that are available within the area near me. I don't want it to really go like 100 miles because then what you're thinking of is how expensive it is, especially this point of time with gas prices. And then if you're driving 100 miles out, that's just one way. So effectively, you're doing 200 miles. And if you don't sell anything, it's a complete wash. So you kind of have to think locally on where you're going to sell these items. But even before you get to that point, you have to go through and um, team up with your significant other, your partner, wife, husband, whoever, um, to make sure that the business that you're starting up is pretty much on a solid foundation from the very beginning, or as solid as it can be from the very beginning. Because I've looked at a, I believe it's an old saying that in the business world, any kind of entrepreneurial or small startup businesses, eh, you're not going to make a profit within like the first 5 years, if that. So this is something that you have to be aware of and comfortable of, that knowing you're probably not going to make a profit. You're going to burn through some stuff. Uh, Expenses are going to be high. So it's just something that you have to think about as you're going through. And this is the reason why I wanted Create the Maker Dad experience, is to document and share my experience going through this whole process as well, knowing that you're not alone out there. There is other people, hundreds of thousands of people are doing this every day, or getting started, or thinking about getting this started, of creating a small business, and the whole process of getting up and running, and what works, what doesn't, experimenting with uh, websites or online stores, or going through the whole process of finding out or getting part of a craft fair organization. So it's just one of those things I wanted to do, is to document this whole process as the maker dad, and as someone who is working a 9 to 5 for the family, bills to pay. So it does go slow. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to um, have this episode and talk about the process and the thought processes I was having. It's actually, it is important to have these discussions with with other people, other your significant other, um, husbands, wives, and probably family members as well, family people. Um, it's just because if you're doing this alone, it's even harder when you think about it, because the process of doing all of this by yourself is, it's just compounding the thought processes and the actual going through the experience without any kind of support system in place is very daunting. And I know there are plenty of people who do that, and I applaud you, because you're doing a lot of work on your own shoulders with a lot of stress, if you're especially if you're working a full-time job, or doing that plus taking care of family, kids, dogs, cats, oh my. But that's the whole part and parcel of this whole experience, is it's a journey. Um, the reason why I wanted to do this to begin with, back in January when I started Maker Dad, was I wanted to get out from being under the yoke of the man, of big corporate. I wanted, actually, instead of working my life away to make somebody else rich, I wanted to do that for myself. I wanted to work to enrich myself and my family, to make, you know, we don't have to worry about bills, or other stuff like that. But that's the reason why I wanted to get this started. But the first thing I will have to do, and actually, I would think be great too if you actually would join me. Is next week I'm going to be talking about getting a system in place, or actually getting it started of writing down small goals. Like, okay, by um, next month, I want to have the IEN number taken care of so I can work on the taxes and I'll be okay, legal and stuff like that, or get a business name set up. Because I think that's actually probably important is to do your research for a business name. Are you going to go sole proprietor or LLC or corporation, whatever? And you have to do the research, and best, especially if depending on where you live, what state or even country, really, is what kind of regulations you have to go through. So next week, if you join me, let's write down small goals for, let's say, for the next 6 months. What do we expect to accomplish? Don't say, "Oh, I want to have uh, a 50,000 a month business within the next 2 months." That's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but the YouTube gurus that have been promising you that by using simple AI tricks, no, that's not going to work for you. So I want to actually take this seriously, and I want you to write in your comments, say, "Hey, here's what I'm working on," or even in the comments on the makerdad.com when this episode is released. Uh, let me know, because I'll be doing the same thing, and I'll be sharing the not the product, well, yeah, a little bit of the process and what I've come up with for next episode, and the whole thought process of going through the different ways of setting up my goals for the small goals of getting certain things done by like a month or 2 months or maybe 6 months from now. And I would like to share that with you. And I would definitely love to see what you come up with as well. So, with that, there is a lot of thinking involved in this whole process of becoming a small business owner, entrepreneur, solo entrepreneur, and maker, crafter, whatever you want to call yourself is perfectly fine. Um, I don't even know where I was going with that. But, anyways, if you have any experience with what I am going through, if you are just like me, first time going through this, definitely leave your comment down below. I would love to hear your side of the story and your share your experiences with everybody. And again, thank you for joining me on this episode of the Make Your Dad podcast. If you haven't known, I'm Josh, and I'll see you guys next week. So until then, later, taters. All right. So there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to get, you know, up and running. Um, I do want to show. Um, it's not. I am working on the mailbox post. I have recorded a lot of B-roll so far. It's not assembled. I have to still cut the decorative lines and stuff like that, but I am working on it. So I want to get that done within. I want to get close to it to being done by this coming weekend. I know it's a big ask, but it's something that I want to get done and start moving on to the next project, which is getting this mess taken care of, and by building my workbench, because it's going to be, hopefully you can still hear me. Um, check. Yeah. So it's going to be pretty much, it'll fill up this section here. It's going to be about 6 feet long, and it's going to be about no more than like 30 inches wide or deep, because I still like to bring the car in when I can, because I don't like getting into an oven when I pick up my daughter after school. because again, school starts soon. So this will take care of me putting the shop vac in a location that is not here, but underneath the workbench. And um, Workshop Junkies, he's another small YouTuber, but he's been doing this for quite some time. He's been he's been building a workbench that has a flip top capability for a miter saw, which I have here on the ground. So that workbench would house that, the shop vac, and that would take care of these two large spots to, get rid of a lot of the stuff, or not get rid of, but basically find a home for it. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at right now is finishing up the mailbox post. Because like I said, all I gotta do is cut the decorative elements, the uh, the half lap joint, and put it all together, stain it. Even before I stain it, I gotta do the Shou Sugi Ban method on the lower part of the post. What that means is basically burning wood, uh, creating a barrier between the wood and the outside elements, so the microbial world doesn't eat the wood and as fast as normally it would here in Florida. So I'm going to have to do that. So I'm going to be working on that this week and take care of that and get that done and post it and actually edited and posted on the channel soon. I'm hoping by this month. So in the next 2 weeks, I'll have that video posted and I'll be already started on the workbench and getting filming the B-roll and getting all that taken care of. So yeah, things are happening. I know it's been a month where no activity has happened. That's it's life, and so definitely going to be getting the ball rolling again on that. Um, so yeah, I think that was pretty much it. Again, like I said, these are going to be short streams. Um, Eventually down the line, once start getting things rolling. Oh, aspect of the forums and stuff like that. I Again, this is what I've been mulling over for the past couple of weeks. Is I'm just going to be focusing on the website, themakerdad.com, and the Discord server for the near future. I'll probably be shutting down the forums at um, by the end of the year. I really don't see those being a major factor and getting a community started. I just did that because I like creating forums and I like using Envision Community software. But it's just the fact that it's just yet another thing I have to uh, keep track of. So I wanted to kind of, you know, lessen the stuff I'm having to do constantly every day of the week. Because once I take care of editing of this episode, you'll be creating a transcript and a blog post from it, um, and posting it on websites. What I would normally would do is take the website, make another version of it that is not the same, but post that on to the forums as something else. But again, focusing on just the website and the Discord server going forward. So if you don't know about the Discord server, we had the MakerDad server. I do have links down below. Not on this live stream, but I'll add that and I'll do it in post. But when the episode goes out, all the links will be there. And if you go to themakeردad.com, I have a link to the Discord server at the top of the page. Easily click on it and join up and be part of our small or tiny community that definitely love to see you there. Um, so yeah, closing out this live stream. Trying to think of if there's any other housekeeping stuff that I haven't updated you guys on yet or haven't talked about yet. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So next week, same bat time, same bat channel is another episode recording, another live stream. And yeah, until then, have a good night. And I'll see you guys next week. And if I don't see you in this server, have a good night. And again, later, taters, as I slowly hit the stop button. Boop. And